Hello there, and welcome back. Now, it has taken me, let's say, about 12 hours longer than it normally does for me to tackle this topic, but Nick Cave and Warren Ellis just dropped a bomb on us, and we now get to listen to the album Carnage prior to the release on vinyl and CD. And from what I'm noticing, through my own thoughts, through reviews, through what I'm already starting to see surface, this album slaps. Like, it slaps hard. And there's just so many wonderful, truly wonderful, amazing, magnificent
2,000 years later
that end up making this gobsmacking collection of music, which we're going to talk about today. I don't know if you can tell, I really liked it. And yes, I do know that this has been a bit of an alternative week compared to what you're usually used to seeing here on the platform. I'm a very blues rock kind of guy from what I've shown, but I've been talking about punk, I've been talking about EDM, and I've been enjoying quite a bit of funk and souls. I mean, I just like good music, really. That's kind of the whole trick. That's what we do here. That's really what we do. And Nick Cave, at least in both my household and that of many others, has always been associated with the idea of just good fucking music. Whether it be for his wonderful lyricism, or his emotive choice and sounds specifically, not just chords and arrangement, but sound and tone, and his choices with regards to using one effect or one instrument as opposed to another. And since Ghost Dean was released just 2 years ago, 2 years ago, god damn. Well, actually, no, it's more like a year and a half ago, in truth. Well, I mean, whatever. Since Ghost Dean was released in 2019, we were expecting to be, for there to be a little bit of a pause, maybe some creative breathing. But in a way, given the unique expressive ability of Nick Cave, he is perhaps the best suited artist to be able to put to music these visceral and strong feelings that we all share about the state of the planet at the moment. And in short, this is really why I was so blown away by this album and each one of its individual components. And my lovely, lovely viewers, if you're interested in staying updated on new releases and getting quick thoughts and insights as to what I think of them, please do consider subbing down below. Just stay tuned and hear from me as we go. Now, it's been a couple of days, but let us not forget our traditions. Please, if you would, grab yourself some delicious caffeinated beverage. Caffeine up, if you will. And let's get into the nitty-gritty of why I think this album is so great. So I think the best way to start, oddly enough, is from the end. Now, Nick Cave is one of those artists who's still of the old school of thought that an entire album should have a logical progression unifying the whole musical journey. And mind you, I am very, very much into this line of thinking. So in a way, the best way to sort of understand the broader mission statement or the intent of the album in the context of talking about it, I think is always to start from the end, once we've had a moment to digest all the music, all the motifs, all the imagery, and really reflect back on the song from where we started. What doesn't kill you just makes you crazier. This last period is the last lyric that Nick Cave sings to us in the final track of the album, Balcony Man. And in a way, I interpret this album and the way it impacts me is very much channeled and filtered through this last statement. I read a statement by Warren Ellis who said that this album was performed and recorded in the better part of 2.5 days. Mind you, there are a couple of articles I read in preparation, so I will link them down below. And I think that through this quote and that final thought, which seems to me to be in a bit of a Nietzsche school of our modern day subject who just continues and continues in a way to evolve and be tossed around in the winds of chaos. I see this album as just such a wonderful and remarkable release of pure emotion. And these two magnificent artists, through, as I mentioned just before, their lyrical choices, their instrumental choices, their tonal choices, and those minute layering decisions have really made a piece of music such that when I'm listening to the album, I can't help being taken, scooped up, and whisked away, a sort of emotional and mental journey which these two brilliant musicians have come up with and they've expressed to me in such a direct way. As I may have mentioned just 2 or 3 times in the past, that to me is true musicianship, being able to express a concept, an idea, no matter how simple, complex, or whatever you want to talk about, but being able to convey this message through the medium of music, to me, is sort of the height of expressivity. And Nick Cave has been one of the best to do it for years, and with this album, he has truly just come back with a fucking boom, and just put to words what we're all feeling. The simplest way I can define this album, really, is thinking of it as some sort of emotional rollercoaster. Now, I fully realise that when we normally say emotional rollercoaster, it's not that big of a positive. But I would rather argue that in this specific case, as in some others, this rollercoaster, this swinging up and down of emotions and the radical change in tone that takes place from the beginning to the second half of the album, serves a wider purpose of catharsis. Basically just releasing and getting rid of those negatively pent-up emotions, conveying them into music, and then taking a step back, breathing in some fresh air, and seeing things from a different perspective. And within the sense, I believe that this album truly does deliver a very honest depiction of extremely human emotions, which at the moment, for obvious reasons, is very helpful in keeping us grounded. And as we as listeners are kind of caught and swept away in this fluent current of emotions which Cave and Ellis are kind of transporting us in, we really are brought in the centre, in the eye of the cyclone, as we have the opportunity to just watch everything circulate us and being able to pick the brain of these men, as they really do allow us to have the insight to watch and see how their emotions unfold. And it's very, very, very well done. And I believe it's even more important at a time where it just feels like everything is just crumbling around you. You just get to not feel alone. But please do not go away from here thinking that all this is just some pansy emotional journey, because frankly, it's not. It's not all that this album is. Albeit we haven't seen an aggressive Nick Cave shouting at us and telling us he's going to shoot us in the fucking face for a little while now. And Ghosteen, in a way, has sort of shown us a lighter, more pensive side. Here, we get the best of both. Various motifs of violence, of guns, desecration, which are taken care of in the first half of the album, are put in contrast with a yearning for more, with thoughts of what lies in the great kingdom which lies beyond. And the general motif which surfaces, where together we are capable of creating and finding our own method of escape, in a way, and our own method of coping. Now, if any of my points made so far were original, gave you something to think about, or you just found them interesting, please do consider subscribing down below, because this is not the first or the last time we are going to talk about new pieces of music with our own little signature perspective. Back to the scheduled programming. And to highlight some of the themes of this album, need I say more than just looking at the title of both the album and the tracks? Carnage, White Elephant, Balcony Man, they all very effectively encapsulate the themes that we're going to look into. A much more primal, visceral approach to music, as opposed to what we saw recently in Ghosteen. And I think perhaps one of the best songs to just sum up my feelings about the whole album, and perhaps if you, the bystander who may have not listened to the music yet, would just ask me what one piece of music I would point you towards to get you going, I would suggest White Elephant. This specific piece of music I would think is the turning point of the album. It's in the middle of the tracks, and in the middle of this specific piece of music, without going too much in detail, let's just say that there is a massive tonal shift. The motifs, the themes, and the musical accompaniment gets turned on its head, and we just move into the latter half of the album. The beginning of this individual song is characterized by very rough, almost violent percussion, which kind of gets you into an area of thinking of agitation. This use of percussion sounds almost choral. It sounds as if there's a large group of people protesting, and it just evolves and continues to build upon this until all of a sudden, once we reach the apex, very much like Jimi Hendrix's piece Machine Gun, where the instruments are used to imitate the actual fire of weaponry, it all comes to a halt. And these beautiful swelling synths come in to sort of emulate a church organ and just carry us away. And that, in short, is what I think of the new album. I was blown away by the emotive capability of these two artists, and that's what I would like to convey to you. But there's plenty other reviews and other people you can go to for something more musically informative. I was just blown away by these men's expressive capability, and I think that's what I'm best suited to talk about. And I hope you enjoyed. Now, if you've stuck around till the very end, thank you oh so much for staying tuned in. I really did enjoy listening to this new music, and I'm so happy I get to sit back, give you my thoughts, and hopefully have something going on down in the comments and see what you think as well. Please do consider dropping a subscription down below. I'm feeling very invigorated this week. It feels quite nice to have achieved our first milestone, and I would very much look to continue building on that. So, thank you very much. That being said, I'm done. Go listen to that album one more time if you haven't yet. It really merits a second listen. See ya!